Alright guys, what we have here is an ESP8266 Wi-Fi module, also known as a NodeMCU. What I've done here is I've hooked up an Oled display to a GPS module, the Ublox 6M GPS module. And so it's displaying the current latitude, longitude, number of satellites, the elevation, the time in UTC, our current heading, our speed, which is basically nothing, and our distance from our home location. Anyway, just to let you know, this is not my actual latitude and longitude. I changed that in the code. What you need to do to be able to set up the OLED display is to hook it up to the I2C device. Is actually SCL goes to pin D1 and SDA goes to pin D2. You see the SCL is the yellow wire here and the SDA is the blue wire. There's a very helpful chart here that I got from a website called Acrobatic. Anyway, they have all the pinouts for the ESP8266, and they show you pretty much everything except for one thing. They didn't show the I2C pins on this. I'm not exactly sure why, but anyway, it's pins D1 and D2 located right here. You can see those. Anyway, I would tell you, if you're working with the ESP8266, it'd probably be a good idea to go to their website and download this. It's been very helpful. Getting back to the device here, though, you can see that on the ESP8266, I just have a couple of pins coming from the ground and 3.3 volts going to the breadboard to supply the breadboard itself with power to the bar there. And I got my other devices, got the OLED display hooked up to that. The reds are all the VCC and the green are those are the grounds. So anyway, you see here that on the OLED display that's what we got going on there. The first one on the left is the VCC and the second one is ground wire. And then over here on the GPS device, you can see the far left is the ground, and then the far right is the VCC, and then in the middle we have our RX and TX, and that is the RX and TX are coming over here, and we got those hooked up to pins D6 and D7. And so it is not an I2C device. It's actually using the serial port to transmit the information. You can see the little green light there on the GPS. Every time it blinks, that's letting you know that it just received another NEMA sentence. So it's getting its location values and everything. And we've got let's see here, 8 satellites that we're locked onto right now, so it's got a good lock on. Alright, going to the code here, you can see the first thing on the list is the tinygps library. We need that to be able to communicate with the Ublox GPS module. We also need the software serial library because we need to basically change the pins that we're communicating with to, as we said before, pins D6 and D7. So we need our software serial library for that. The next thing on the list is the Adafruit library for the OLED display. You're going to need to include that in the libraries. And you're going to need to set up your Adafruit display to pins 4 and 5, as we already said. And then also the RX and the TX pins for the GPS module. Those will be on pins 12 and 13, which it's kind of confusing because over here you can see it says GPIO pins 12 and 13. Here are also pins D6 and D7, so that's another reason why this pin out chart is so handy, and I would tell you to probably try to get it if you can. Next is our GPS baud rate. You pretty much want to set that at 9600. Pretty much all of them are standard 9600 baud. You can change that with the proper software and hardware and everything. You can change it, but pretty much the default is 9600. And then you got your latitude and longitude here. This is be what you set for your current location, if you want to have that feature to be able to tell you how many kilometers you are away from your home or wherever you set the location from. And everything else is pretty much self-explanatory. You got your OLED display, and basically tells you all the information that you have. One thing that you might want to change here is right here you see the number 4 and 5 here. This is the precision at which the GPS is going to display your location. At this point right here, the number 5, it's basically set to 5 decimal places, and I set it here for the also to 4 decimal places. As you can see right here, the longitude is set to 4 decimal places and the latitude is set to 5. You can change that to every how many decimal places you'd like. Anyway, the reason I made this video is because I just haven't seen anybody else post anything else like it on YouTube. I did a search for the ESP8266 and the GPS module, and I haven't seen anything on there, so I figured I'd put it out there in case anybody was wondering if it's possible. And yes, it's possible and very easy to do. Thanks.